What is up, Sooner Nation? I am Casey Mallon, and you are now come on, get with me in a Sooner state of mind. Make sure you subscribe on Apple Podcast, Spotify, Google Play, and Amazon Music. BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for online betting in 2025. Whether you're a seasoned fan or a first-time bettor, BetOnline is your ultimate game day companion. With the largest selection of odds on everything from football, the NBA, college basketball to NHL and UFC, BetOnline is your number one sports betting source for the new year. Every touchdown to three-pointer and hat trick, BetOnline has you covered with odds, stats, and more for every game, every play, and every win. BetOnline, the game starts here. Sooner state of mind family, what is good? Rat in a drain ditch, caught on a limb. You know better, but I know him. Like I told you, like I said, steal your face right off your head. Little dead to head into the dead season. Just about a week out after the first championship game, the first national championship of the 12-team college football playoff. Overall, success. I love me some college football rolling into mid to late January. And when all was said and done, it was the Buckeyes from the Ohio State coming out on top, 34-23 over the Fighting Irish in Notre Dame. And after getting beat by Michigan, Ohio State played with the fire under their tails. And they rolled it through the playoffs, smashing everybody in their way, and ultimately coming out on top over Notre Dame. And you wondered how long this Notre Dame run could go. And they started the game with like a 9 or 10 minute drive. And you're like, okay, we might have something here. And then Ohio State went on a run, baby, and they did not look back. Had a huge lead in this thing. But the Fighting Irish did what the Fighting Irish do, and they fought back. Actually had a chance. One-score game with the 3rd and 11. Ohio State with the ball. You know how it went to. Jeremiah Smith, unstoppable this cat was. Had a huge gain for the big first down, and Ohio State holds on to win. In the playoffs, Will Howard, probably the best quarterback play out of anybody. Very consistent. Took care of the ball. Made great decisions. Made some really good throws. And in the championship game, 17-21, 230, and 2 touchdowns. Added another 57 yards rushing. Just incredible command of this offense, the Chip Kelly offense. And nobody really had answers for them throughout this playoff. So, and I mentioned Jeremiah Smith with the big catch to put it away. On the day, he had 5 for 88 and a touchdown. Our running back, oh man, Ohio State had it going, baby. Quinshon Judkins, 11 carries, 100 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground there, 1 through the air. Just dominating the Irish. Trevion Henderson, kind of a back roll to this, to Judkins in this game. He had 50 yards on 12 carries. So just outstanding offensive performance all the way around for Ohio State, and pretty dominating performance by that defense throughout the playoffs as well. And Notre Dame they didn't have enough passing attack to get it going in this game, or at least they started too slow. in that. It just took them too long to get their offense going, but a tremendous season from Notre Dame, really bouncing back after that Northern Illinois loss early on in the season. So congratulations to both teams. Congratulations to the 12-team playoff. I loved it. Loved every minute of it. Like I said, football into the middle of January, college football, give me that. Oh, yeah, baby. I'll take that every day of the week. So we know there's going to be some tweaks coming to this thing. It's going to take a little while, probably not until after next season. But, yeah, we're stoked. It was an awesome success, and I look forward to next season. If you want to go back to August, Ohio State came in with the second best odds to start the season, just behind Georgia. Ohio State was plus 360. Notre Dame started at plus 2,200. So if you're holding on to one of those tickets, baby, you were completely stoked, but it did not come through for you. So maybe get out to Vegas next summer and get some bets in before the season starts. Oh, little cup of coffee. Yeah, why not? So Sooner Nation thought we had some news coming. There was a lot of rumors about Ohio State's defensive coordinator, Jim Knowles, coming to the Sooners. It seemed like it was a poorly kept secret. It's going to happen. We're going to find out on Thursday. We're going to have him on Friday. Oh, now it's going to be after the parade. And it turns out that's not going to happen. Knowles is bouncing, but he's staying in the Big Ten. He's going to go to Penn State. Penn State, the Nittany Lions come up with a $3.1 million per season contract. That makes Knowles the highest paid defensive coordinator in college football. Might be the first college coordinator to make $3 million in base salary. And they also said Ohio State offered him a nice contract that would have made him be the highest paid coordinator in the country, more than $2.5 million per year, but I guess that was not enough. So I can't imagine that the Sooners were in on this thing for over $2 million a year. Maybe he used the Sooners for leverage. It's hard to say because it was pretty hush-hush and it was all kind of behind the scenes. But Knowles had been making 2.2 at Ohio State, but with the championships and all that, got up to $3 million. But it wasn't enough to keep him there. And Ohio State this year had the number one defense in the country, allowing the fewest yards per game and the fewest points per game at under 13. So he really got it done there. Knowles was at Duke and then with the Dirty Pokes. And he was the head coach at Cornell earlier in the 2000s. So he's heading to Penn State. That means the Sooners still have the defensive coordinator position open. I could definitely see a scenario where BV just takes the reins on that, maybe get someone there in title, but I feel totally confident with Venables calling the defense for the upcoming season. Got a lot of guys coming back on that defense, so I'm pretty stoked. This would have been a nice cherry on top, but not an area of concern, not like it was with the offensive coordinator position. Getting Arbuckle in there. So would have been nice, but I think it's going to be okay either way. And I just cannot imagine that OU was dialed in to pay this guy $3 million a year. So we will see what happens with Penn State. But the good thing is everybody is now undefeated. And we just got a couple of things to get through. And then there's the lull, and then there's spring ball. And before you know it, we're going to be back. But coming up this week is the East-West Shrine Bowl. It is the 100th edition of the East-West Shrine Game. This is coming to you from Jarrah World on Thursday, January 30th, the home of the Dallas Cowboys. That's also the same venue where Ohio State beat the crap out of Texas, 2S's. You might remember that game, the one that the Horns with the W had a first and goal at the Ohio State 2. And after a couple of great Sark play calls, that first and goal at the 2 turned into a fourth and goal from the 8. And that fourth and goal from the 8 turned into a sack fumble of Ewers by his former roommate at Ohio State, Jack Sawyer. And that sack fumble turned into an 83-yard scoop and score to end the Horns season with the 28-14 loss. Yummy, yummy, yummy. Get in my belly. Delicious. And Horn fan kept blowing up Football Dudes LA on X, talking smack on our Sooners. I know we had it down here. Sooner Nation knew that. We knew we had it down here. It was obvious. But this was supposedly Texas's best team in a long time, in over 10 years, almost 20. All these high recruits, all this NIL, the best team in a long time, and they were still nowhere good enough. All that money right down the drain. Keep coping, Horns. I'm sure next year you'll get to go up against a backup quarterback in the SEC championship. And just maybe things will work out for you. It's still a pretty soft schedule, so anything is possible. That was pretty good. But now it's all over, so it's down to just a couple of those bowl games. Like I said, the East-West Shrine Bowl. Got a couple Sooners there representing Ethan Downs for the defense and punter Luke Elzinga. They're both on the West roster if you need to know who to root for on this thing on Thursday. And they will be practicing there this week in front of a ton of NFL personnel. And hopefully they can both turn that week of practice into getting drafted or at least an undrafted free agent invitation to a training camp. Ethan Downs will be one of the hardest workers out there. So hopefully he can parlay that into a roster spot. And if anybody can, it will be that dude. And we will be pulling for him to do so. The West team will be led by Shedeur Sanders. Some pretty good talent on both of those squads. And lots of players down there doing lots of stuff in front of the scouts. Ethan Garbers from UCLA, he's the other quarterback down there. Brady Cook from Mizzou, he is there as well. So, yeah, it's pretty exciting. It's football, so I'll still be watching. Taj Brooks, he'll be on that West squad as well. A couple Bayou Bengals on there. Some more folks. Jackson Woodard from UNLV, that's pretty good. So there's some players sprinkled on this thing. Let's see who's on the East roster real quick. Kyle McCord from Syracuse. He had a pretty nice season going late. Cam Miller, North Dakota State, and Peyton Thorne from Auburn. Let's see if we can get any of these cats drafted. Like I said, that game is on Thursday night. So that ought to be pretty sweet. But also this week, it's the Reese's Senior Bowl. And that game will take place on Saturday, February 1st. That's 1:30 Central Time from Mobile, Alabama. From the University of South Alabama, Hancock Whitney Stadium. You can check that out on NFL Network. The Senior Bowl says in their press release more than 900 NFL personnel from all 32 teams, over 1,100 media members credentialed this year. And last April, the game produced 110 total picks. That's 43% of the entire NFL draft. So if you're down at the Senior Bowl, you are in front of the personnel. and there's a good opportunity for you to get drafted. Now, 2 Sooners were supposed to be there, and one is. Billy Bowman's there. Started 41 games, 195 tackles, 9 TFLs, 11 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles, 3 fumble recoveries, 14 pass breakups, and 3 pick sixes. Hopefully our guy Bowman can get up there in the first round. He's a hard worker. He's going to be turning some heads, getting the eyeballs on him this week. So hopefully he can parlay that into a fat contract. We'd love to see that work out for him. And he was supposed to be joined by Danny Stutzman. Up to this point, Stutz still hasn't officially accepted his invite. So maybe he is just going to focus on training and getting ready for the draft. Totally understandable. Didn't play in the bowl game. Neither of these guys did. Usually they like to showcase themselves at the Senior Bowl. Stutz didn't do that here, but as a Sooner, 376 tackles, 40 TFLs, 8 sacks, 3 interceptions, 4 forced fumbles, 1 fumble recovery, and 8 pass breakups. Heartbeat of this Sooners defense the last couple of seasons. Hopefully Kip or Kobe can take over and assume that leadership role for this squad. Not sure where Stutz is going to go here. There's talk that he might be sliding in the draft. Who knows? It's all liar's poker after the season ends. Everybody says stuff, and there's a little bit of truth out there, but a ton of lies. So I'm not sure where that puts Stutz, but we obviously hope for the best for him. On that roster with Billy Bowman, Jackson Dart, Jalen Milroe, Riley Leonard, Seth Harrigan. Pretty good talent there at quarterback. Brashard Smith from SMU, Trevor Etienne from Georgia, Devin Neal, Kansas. Receivers, Jamal Pritchett, South Alabama, Ty Felton, Adrian Smith, Brewer McCoy, Jalen Royals. So some pretty good talent there on offense. Defensively, we mentioned our guy, Billy Bowman, Jonathan Edwards from Tulane, Jacob Parrish from K-State. Who are the big boys up front? Kyle Kennard from South Carolina, Jared Ivey from Ole Miss, RJ Oben from Notre Dame. And you flip it over to the American roster. Brashard Smith, running back, SMU. National offense, Dylan Gabriel, Ollie Gordon, Jaquavius Marks, Donovan Edwards. Receiving, Kyle Williams, Jalen Knoll, Tez Johnson. Lots of talk about Tez this week. He's getting it done. So a lot of these cats will be drafted. So tons of scouts out there. And they're getting in front of the eyeballs, which is a good deal for these players. And I don't know if you've been on X, you've seen it. Dylan Gabriel's helmet. It's got the Oregon logo on one side, the UCF on the back, and the OU logo on the other side. Pretty cool to see that. Still got plenty of love for DG. Ohana forever, baby. Last year, he didn't like what his draft grade was going to be. So he went back, had a very good season for the Ducks. They unfortunately met Ohio State in the rematch and got blowed out at the Rose Bowl. Gabriel was okay in that game, but they just got smoked on both sides of the football, and I'm not sure what he could have done other than not missing a pass and throwing about 8 touchdowns. So It'll be interesting to see where DG goes. Be pulling for him no matter where it is. Hopefully he can do enough this week to get that roster invite, and I think that he will. And if for some reason he doesn't, he will be an undrafted free agent, but hopefully he can parlay this season into a late round draft pick. Very good with the ball, doesn't turn it over a lot. Smart, heady player's got a ton of starts under his belt. So that's usually what the pros are looking for. And hopefully he can parlay that into a long-time gig. So we will be rooting for him. So that game is on Saturday. We'll have to watch both of these games because I'm a sicko and it's what I do. And then that will be the end of the college football season. And this week we don't have any pro football. But speaking of Oklahoma quarterbacks, our guy Baker Mayfield should have been named to this right off the bat. Somehow didn't, but he was named to the Pro Bowl roster this week, and the Pro Bowl games will take place this weekend. Some of it's kind of hokey. Some of it's pretty cool. The flag football game is pretty awesome. Bake finished career high, 4,500 yards and 41 touchdowns. And other than Baker, only 9 other QBs in NFL history have thrown for over 45 yards and 40 TDs in a season. So I don't know how he wasn't already a Pro Bowler, but he is. And, he'll be competing his tail off in that flag game, which is kind of cool and a little bit fun. So I'll tune in for that stuff too, because like I said, I'm a sicko and take it all in. So no football this weekend other than the Pro Bowl games because we are on a bye week till Super Bowl 59. It is going to be the Philadelphia Eagles against the Kansas City Chiefs. Eagles got there by blowing out the Commanders in the NFC Championship game 55-23. And I don't know if you've heard, but Saquon Barkley is pretty good. Not good enough to be on the Giants, but good enough to have 15 carries, 118 yards, almost 8 yards a carry, and 3 touchdowns. That's pretty good. Jalen Hurts, former Sooner, 20-28, 246, and a touchdown through the air. Oh, wait, he had 3 touchdowns on the ground. 7 total rushing touchdowns for these Eagles. And as a team, 36 carries, 229 yards at 6.4 per. And you flip it over to those Durs, 25 for 99, 4 yards a carry and 1 touchdown. If you can run the damn ball for over 200 yards, you got a pretty good chance of winning all the games that you play. Lots of turnovers for Washington, sloppy, and just too much Saquon for them to handle. And now these Dan Quinn defenses, last couple playoff appearances, 103 total points in the 2, like 7 yards, 6 a carry or something, 10 rushing touchdowns. So the problems he had on the Cowboys are the problems he has on the Durs. But an incredible season for Jaden Daniels. All those stars in college really paid off, came right in, has got a very unique skill set. But now you got a whole season of tape for all the other NFL teams to look at. Let's see what happens in year 2. We get a little too ahead of ourselves. Start blowing sunshine. Let's see what happens next year. But completely impressed by this dude for real, start to finish. And just more than just a little bit short in that game. They got doubled up. So Eagles will be repping in the Super Bowl their second time in 3 years. And they will be going up against the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs beat the Buffalo Bills 32-29. And as always, when the game is on the line, the Chiefs make the play. They do what needs to be done. Everybody, especially on ESPN all season long, oh, these Chiefs are only winning by one score. They're not knocking people out. They need a knockout punch like the Buffalo Bills. Well, guess who's on the canvas? The Bills. Because the Chiefs, they don't make mistakes when the money is on the table. It doesn't matter how much you win by. Does anybody care? No, it's just got to be 1 point more than your opponent. So they get it done when they need to. Couple questionable calls in this one for sure. Couple of first downs it looks like the Bills had, but apparently not. And then an interception that was called a catch that hit the ground. I thought it was an interception if it didn't hit the ground, but they ruled it a catch. It was a Buffalo penalty on it, so it would have still been Kansas City's ball, but it would have not been first and goal. But either way, you just got to be impressed with what these Chiefs do. They're on the precipice of a third straight Super Bowl. Has never happened in the NFL. And the NFL is not designed to have repeat winners. They love parity. Why? Because every team has a chance every season. That's what they want. Somehow Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes have cracked the code, and they are looking at making history. And you got to feel for Josh Allen, man. He played a pretty damn good game. Really went toe for toe against against Mahomes and these Chiefs. The fourth down, I thought he had it. But if you leave a game to a call that the ref can determine who wins, then you're putting it in somebody else's hands. So even though I thought they got it, you're never going to get those calls against the chefs. And that's just what it is. And if you leave it a one-score game or an opportunity for the Chiefs, they're going to take it because that's what they do. So you got to give it up. Pretty exciting. So this is a rematch of a Super Bowl from a couple years ago that the Chiefs came back to win. They were down by 10 at halftime, didn't fold, came back and won it. So it'll be interesting to see what happens next week. Well, a week, yeah, more than a week. Anyways, what's special about that? Well, more OU Sooners will be playing in the Super Bowl than any other college football team. 8 Sooners on the active roster of the Chiefs and the Eagles. And it's the third year in a row that the Sooners will have more players than anyone else compete in a Super Bowl. Not only do the Sooners get you to the NFL, they get you to the Super Bowl. Don't forget that, okay? No one else is doing that. And on the Chiefs, it's Hollywood Brown, Creed Humphrey, McCade Mature, Wanye Morris, Samaje P. Ryan, and James Winchester. And how about Samaje on that 3rd and 9 to ice those Bills? Got the catch, juked the guy in, backed him off, picked up the first down, stayed in bounds, game over, Kansas City Chiefs. And then for the Eagles, Jalen Hurts, maybe the best right tackle in the league in Lane Johnson and Grant Calcaterra, who played some really good ball when Dallas Goedert was hurt, came in and had some critical reps and is kind of expanding his role on this team. So it's exciting to see what Calcaterra is able to do. And as of right now, BetOnline has the Chiefs as a 1.5 favorite to win the Super Bowl. And if you guys are into it, maybe next week we will look at some of the more fun prop bets that BetOnline has surrounding the Super Bowl, give you some of my favorite, and just look at what is available there for you. So the last fiesta of the year, and we'll preview that game a little bit. I know we mostly do college, but it's the Super Bowl. So let's go ahead and have a little fun with that. All right. Also, Head on over to believe.com. That's BLEAV.com. Go to shows, type in Sooner State of Mind, and you are locked. We have a ton of great content, every team, every topic, everywhere, believe.com. And if you want to watch Sooner State of Mind, head on over to YouTube and search the Football Dudes. We are there. Sooner State of Mind is brought to you by Bet Online. My name is Casey Mallon, and I am in a Sooner State of Mind.